What's up guys? I wanted to do a quick video about the Van Compass 4.3 kit. This has by far become our favorite upgrade on the van, and it's something that I recommend to anyone, especially someone who's adding a lot of weight to their Sprinter. I should add that this video won't feature a lot of tech specs. I'd visit the Van Compass website for all that information, but I wanted to give you kind of some feedback after driving with the kit for about 10,000 miles, because I think it could be useful for some folks out there. I have to give Mercedes a nod. I think the stock suspension system is okay. If you've watched our previous videos, you know that we bought this in Gilbert, Arizona and drove it to Southern California. And the ride really wasn't that bad. It skipped around a little bit. Sure, there was quite a bit of sway, but it wasn't terrible. Then we added aftermarket wheels and tires to it, and the ride became even better. As soon as we added the weight of the build, that's when we realized the suspension system just really wasn't up to par. So the solution for us was one of the Van Compass kits. If you go to their website, you can kind of look at the different kits that they have based on the driving style that you have, based on the weight of your vehicle, and based on what you're looking to do. I think it's a great starting point to decide if you need suspension or not. Now, our experience with the Van Compass 4.3 kit is unique in that we did it in stages because, like everything else in 2021, things are back ordered. So the first thing that we did was we installed the bump stop or the Sumo springs, as well as the rear shocks. Then, a couple months later, we installed the front shocks. And then, after we had the van weighed, I should have done that first, we realized that we needed leaf springs. So we did it in 3 different stages. As a reference, our van weighs 7,800 pounds dry. Now, if you had people and gear and everything for a trip, I would estimate that we're pushing well over 8,500 pounds, which puts us right in that sweet spot of needing the 4.3 kit with the additional leaf springs in the back. Like I mentioned, we did it in stages. So the first thing that came in stock and we installed, in fact, we installed ourselves, were the front bump stops or the Sumo springs, as well as the rear shocks. For someone who's not really mechanically inclined, it really wasn't that difficult. So I'd recommend maybe giving it a try. Check out the Van Compass website. They have great directions on how to install them. And it was a big improvement. The sway was definitely limited, as well as the ride quality improved by the rear shocks. And having the ability to adjust the shocks was phenomenal. I'd highly recommend, at the very least, you get the Sumo springs and the rear shocks for Van Compass. Totally gonna improve your ride. The second part of our suspension install was to install the front shocks, and this was also a dramatic improvement. The sway was limited even more, and you also got a consistent ride from front to back. So if you switch it to the stiffest setting or the softest setting, it felt like the van was consistent from front to back. If you hit a bump, it didn't feel like it hit hard in the front, and then it was lesser in the back. It was consistent across the board, and it was a great addition to the system. And last, we added the mini leaf pack that completes the Stage 4.3 kit from Van Compass. Now this is where I made the big mistake. See, I didn't weigh the van ahead of time. So I thought we were well under 7,500 pounds. After we had done the rear shocks, the front shocks, and the Sumo springs, I noticed that the van was sagging a little bit in the back. Went back to the website and saw that I believe it's around 7,500 pounds or more. They recommend that you get the mini leaf pack. So sure enough, I bought the mini leaf pack, had it installed, and it fixed the sag in the back, and it really stiffened up the ride in the back as well. So it completes the kit. I think it's just kind of the icing on the cake. I'd recommend it if you're over 7,500 pounds or whatever it is that Van Compass recommends. What I like most about the Van Compass 4.3 kit is just the on-the-fly adjustability. You know, any road trips that we take can encounter all kinds of different terrain, and so it's great to have those 3 settings. Number 3 being the firmest setting. So when we're driving up the 395, we typically keep it on setting 3. We encounter a lot of crosswinds there, and it really helps with the sway and helps with the crosswinds and keeps the van just kind of tracking straight. When we're driving it around town, we're gonna be at home for a little while. We typically leave it on setting number 2, which is kind of a great all-around setting. And anytime we get off the pavement, we put it in setting number 1, and it just eats up the bumps like you wouldn't believe. It truly is an incredible system, and I can't imagine having the van without it. At the end of the day, I think probably the reason why I love this suspension upgrade so much is the van just feels safer to drive. It's a high-profile vehicle. We've got a rack on the top that's got some weight on it. And when you're driving in crosswinds in the stock suspension, the van is just truly all over the place. As soon as we installed the suspension kit, it just felt safer to drive. It felt more planted, and it felt more in control. And I think that's really my number 1 reason why I like the Van Compass Stage 4.3 kit. Look, I was on the fence about suspension at the beginning. When we finished our build, we were way over budget, as I'm sure many of you are in your builds. And suspension was the last thing that I wanted to go spend a few $1,000s more on. Now, after 10,000 miles of driving it with the suspension, I truly cannot imagine it without it. that's a wrap for this video. If you like it, give it a like. If you'd like to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back with more videos very, very soon. Thanks for tuning in.